I think it's interesting the way that we chose to answer the question, right, where we talked about very overt hatred or overt racism or overt homophobia. But often intolerance comes in ways that people talk in the everyday, right? And intolerance can be communicated in what Bob was saying earlier of microaggressions. And Connor, when you said, as a white man, you're not privy to as much abuse, yes, of course. But as white men, we're often probably hearing things that our white relatives might say or our white friends might say about black people or about trans people because they think that we're not going to police that language, right? So how do you guys handle those microaggressions when they come across? And are you taking time to reverse that language when you hear it? Do you let it brush off? Is it your responsibility? When do you choose to engage?
It's a similar thing in that, yeah, you have to choose your battles, but especially in friend groups and with my relatives, if they say anything that's inappropriate, I'm so comfortable calling them out, but in like not like accusing them and making them necessarily feel tons of shame, but kind of throwing the question or whatever they said back at them and saying it the correct way so that they realize that they've said it wrong. But I'm just passive aggressive. But it's the Minnesotan in me. Yeah, so I definitely try and call them out as much as possible, because otherwise they're never going to learn if you let it pass.
I would just add, I'm from a small town in Ohio, and so I do hear a lot of things because they're just not exposed to people of different races, religions, other things, and so. One of the mantras out there is just kill them with kindness, or just politely say, people don't say that anymore, like that, and usually that diffuses the situation.
Are there any organizations or people you follow on social media that you guys would like to shout out and tell the audience about?
I have two, Rise and Resist. Are there any Rise and Resist people in the room? All right, yes. Rise and Resist is a New York City-based organization, activist direct action group that started in response to the Trumpocalypse, and they are doing fantastic work around healthcare. They've done these incredible around the IDC, the Muslim ban, trans rights, you name it. They are covering it. They're a group of young millennials and sort of old school activists, and they are on it, and they endow their membership with a lot of autonomy. It's not top down at all. Actually, they're committed to drawing attention to Trump and his ills, and I think they do it in fantastic and very effective ways. Another group I'd like to give a shout out to is Betsy Riot. If you're Betsy, you can't actually raise your hand because it's an anonymous collective, but if you are Betsy, I love you. And Betsy Riot is an anti-gun collective, and they are anonymous, and they sort of do these actions where they'll dress up, they're masked, and they'll stand in front of Planned Parenthood. They're primarily anti-gun, but they also sort of expand to move out into other social issues, and currently they're doing stuff around protecting Planned Parenthood and women who are going to Planned Parenthood by creating a buffer between anti-abortion, sort of people who are sort of throwing hate speech and trying to intimidate women who are entering Planned Parenthood. Pretty cool stuff they're doing. So those are two groups I'm very fond of.
I don't have like a specific group, like, you gotta check out this group, but the truth is, it is 2017. I can ask my phone how tall Oprah Winfrey is and know in less than a second. You see what I'm saying? And if you claim you wanna help out, I'm telling you, in my opinion, the best place to find out where you can help serve the community is go down to the Queer Center, the LGBT Center. Look at that. It tells you where every person is, every single room, every single time. A lot of them have pamphlets. You go down there and you keep checking them out until you see one or hear one that really speaks to you. Because, literally, the answer to every question in the world is literally in your hand. It is 2017. So that's why I feel like, honestly, no place is more helpful than the LGBT centers of wherever you live. I don't care where you live. Go to the center, because that's where change is happening.
Yeah, and this might seem a little obvious because I'm from the NYCLU, but I just want to plug the NYCLU. They have amazing programs. Join the Youth Organizing Institute for all young people. You can bring workshops to your schools. They have everything from minors' rights to confidential healthcare to policing in schools, just everything, yeah.
And check out Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. You have to check them out. They are bananas.
I know. I would also add, one of the things as a government agency working in community relations, we're constantly working with a variety of organizations all the time, but we're working primarily with organizations. It's hard to find people if they're not connected to these organizations. So I really encourage people to get connected. I know we work a lot with AVP, the Anti-Violence Project, as well as Make the Road New York. The Center is a big partner of ours. And also, I would encourage people to get to know their local council member or assembly member or state senator or congressperson, because that, getting to know them and more importantly, getting to know their staff, that will really help so they know what issues are important to you, and hopefully they can act on that.
Can I plug another group I'm very fond of, and that's Gays Against Guns. We meet every other Thursday at the Center, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Bring your glitter, bring your spray paints, and bring a good attitude. Gun violence is as relevant as ever.
And what's the name of your choir?
Oh, our choir, we have a singing collective. We actually have a lot of different committees, but they're called the Gag Reflex, and they yeah, goes down easily. We sing satirical songs about Trump and about the NRA, and many people actually respond in kind. We hand out hymnals, lyrics of songs, and we're just singing the revolution, or the resistance rather. So a lot of opportunities to sort of get involved at Gays Against Guns. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you.
I live in Washington Heights. I live in a Dominican neighborhood, and no one in my neighborhood has ever said anything to me to make me feel uncomfortable about my sexuality, ever. Yet I still have the stigma in me to be afraid of groups. It's in me to be afraid of that. It's in me to be afraid to leave my house. I told my brother a long time ago, you don't understand, if I kiss a guy goodnight on the corner, it's not just by. It's like I have to make a conscious decision not to look around. You see what I'm saying? So what I've done is I'm not telling you to do this, but I leave my house and I was dressed like this. I didn't have the hat on, I'll be honest. But I walked out my front door in my neighborhood in Washington Heights, and I go to the store and I come back, and nothing has happened to me yet. And I still get a little bit nervous. It's in me to cross the street because I look so. You see what I'm saying? But I decided I'm going to not assume, and I'm going to see what happens from there. And if something does happen and I feel like I need to keep myself safe, I'll remember the things that I taught myself. Say what you see, say what you feel, walk away, keep yourself safe. There we go.
So unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. I want to thank our panelists, and please join me in giving them a round of applause. Thank you, everyone.